Welcome Penfield Television to the October 2020 Penfield Trails Committee meeting in the community room of the Penfield Community Center. My name is Nels Carmen, and I'm chairman of our executive committee, and I'll be conducting this meeting. Call to order. Please check out the minutes, folks, from our September 8th meeting. And let me know if you see any glaring corrections, which there usually are not. Thank you, Eleanor. You've been doing this a while, so well that there won't be any. This is where we slide into a boring science until we get 2 seconds for the meeting in September, folks. So bear with us.
I'll move that we accept the minutes as presented.
Mr. Linskog moves. A second, please.
Second.
Terry seconds. The meetings from September minutes are approved. We are now at committee discussion time, which is usually the bulk and the text and the meat of the Penfield Trails Committee meeting. Review the hike results from September 12th, Channing Philbrick Linear Park History Hike. We had 4 staff members from our executive committee there, and we had 7 hikers. 4 and 7.
And I led the hike, and we didn't go the whole length of it, because, I don't know, we didn't.
Second section, public relations and staffing for our up and coming monthly hike. We do monthly hikes escorted, folks. So this will be our October hike, which will be Saturday at 10 o'clock at Lucian Morin Park, which is at the bottom of Empire Boulevard next to McGregor's Bar. There are hike signs there to park in the Lucian Morin parking lot where I will be with hike signs and our registration box. And I'd like to know if anybody's going to help me Saturday conduct the hike.
If my shots do something, I'll be there, if they do.
All right, I don't plan to do a super mountain goat trail, which the rifle range Lucian Morin Park is full of. Last year I had pneumonia and it rained, a cold rain, and we canceled it, so hopefully better weather this Saturday a year later.
That's 10 o'clock Saturday?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
And I'll have the hike signs in the registration box there.
I'm on my way to the Adirondacks that day.
What is important to us is providing Eagle Scouts with projects to help us out with park improvements, park repairs, or special creations in our park and trails areas that have needed updates and needed deeds. So our Eagle Scout project update is, of course, the kiosk at Shadow Pines has been completed. The kiosk at 4 Mile Creek Park has been completed. What currently is underway is the 3 trail loops at 4 Mile Creek, which have been set out and blazed and colored. And the parking lot's in great shape for people to come there. But what we need is to get a contour map of 4 Mile Creek from Doug Sangster so that we can then mark out the trail loops in color and then put it inside the kiosk to show the people where our efforts in setting up these trails are. The one thing we don't have complete at 4 Mile Creek, and it's a bright Eagle Scout project, is 2 boardwalks to ford the creek, which runs right through the middle of the 21 acres. Fran, did anybody contact you seriously about getting any board work and lumber to do that?
Not for the boardwalk, no. The kiosk, the kid who was doing the kiosk, he got lumber from me a month or 2 ago.
But
nobody's gotten in touch with me for the boardwalk. We have lumber though.
Do we have enough scrap stuff to build a short fording boardwalk. We need one long one and one short one to get across. You know, looking like a Canandaigua Lake dock, stuff like that.
No, I don't think we have enough lumber to do that.
Okay.
We have enough lumber if you wanna do linear foot boardwalk, like just straight planks on the ground, or no?
No, we need, it's like a Canandaigua dock section.
Yes, some of those boards on linear need replacing.
That's all we have. We have boards, and they'd be good for bridges or undermount stuff, but we don't have planking that would run left and right. We don't have enough planking for that, to run left or right.
Okay. All right, so we really don't have in our scrap pile
No, we don't have
something to
enough.
make a Canandaigua dock section. Okay.
No.
Type thing. Okay, great. That's our Eagle Scout project update. When I get to the trail survey, which is a new form which I've been working on our various trails and parks, which you have example of me doing Honey Creek Saturday. But I did a bunch of other parks too, and Tim has copies of the needs. And so you have also a copy. When we get to it, we'll discuss it further down the line.
Are we on number D? now?
Immediate needs trail report.
All right.
Committee discussion D, like in
I
Dole.
walked the Honey Creek Trail yesterday, and, I mean, the important part. And I've mentioned this before, what we need to do, I was standing at the top of the hill by the bench that we put there and chained to a tree, and I smelled smoke, and I looked down and I was almost stepping in the leavings of a bonfire. And people gather there, and we've got to take that bench out of there. I've said that before, and I'm going to keep saying it, because it has become a danger.
That's on the overlook, correct?
It's sitting right there, it's wonderful if it were used properly, but that bench needs to come down and go to some nice place.
What-
where I
For
can-
Eleanor's purposes, what day or date did you find the bonfire?
The bonfire was yesterday. Is that what you're asking me?
October 5th,
What?
October
It
5th.
was yesterday, when I walked it. I mean, the part I walked looked pretty good, except some of the sticks and the wet part need to be taken care of a little better. But the main thing is that bench with the people go in there at night, I think, and they get cold and they build bonfires. And then they have food with them, and all down over the side of the hill, and that lovely, lovely hill, there's trash. And it used to be so beautiful.
Okay, that's a recommendation we'll consider.
Right, well,
For
I've
Honey
been talking
Creek,
about it
yes.
for a long time.
All right, the Conservation Board, does anybody know if that's going on? Is it going on today?
It's going on by virtual meeting tonight. They are meeting tonight at 7 o'clock.
Is that a Zoom meeting?
It's a Zoom meeting, yeah, they're all at their own home. And I don't know
I
whether
was-
Irene's
I had
involved
other
with it or not,
people
she
with
should
me.
be, but
Okay. All right, here's another one from me and Mr. Skoog. We've been kicking this can down the road, and we need to get it submitted to the planning department. So, at 10 o'clock Friday, where you live,
all right.
we will go over your master thoughts of submitting all the easements on a town Penfield map about where these easements should be considered in the future for the planning board.
Okay.
And one master plan map with textual comments about each location. We'll get it done. So you and me, make sure I got your number. We'll get it done Friday morning at your place.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, here's an interesting thing. A young lady named Carolyn Blair wanted to find a location because her science advisor from Bay Trail got an idea for her to do carpenter bee habitat houses. So this was a little education for me, and they and the science teacher at Bay Trail gave me all the information. And they aren't particularly aggressive, nor are they particularly active, and they need a special location. So we looked around and we found one in a grove of locust trees facing a field over at Shadow Pines, all away from any of the trail activities over there. So I looked, when I was doing the park surveys Saturday, nobody had worked on it yet. So, but it's a good location. If she's gonna do it, she's got the location, away from any particular trail walking activity.
I would suggest if you, when you're in contact with her, have her put up a sign there next to the bee boxes, I'm assuming they are, so people, if they come across that, because it's like a free roam, walking field, if they come across that, they just know it's not like a private thing. A sign or something that says Girl Scout Project or Conservation Project.
Girl Scout Project,
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea.
please respect or something like that.
Yep.
I thought she was a Boy Scout.
What,
Well, there is a
Yeah, right.
difference. Yeah.
Well, I can't-
Organizations.
I thought they joined.
No, they didn't merge.
Oh, they didn't?
No.
all right, signage.
We
At the
certainly
location.
welcome Girl Scout projects for the Trails Committee too.
All right.
Yeah, there are 2 or 3 girl Boy
Okay.
Scout units in Penfield.
You should have a Honey Creek Trail survey. You should have a blank form also. So I got busy the last 5 days and did some parks. And you can see the survey activities and the relevant topics that are on it. And I didn't get to all the parks we need to do. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to do. So if anybody would like to do the survey of Sherwood Fields, Roffers Park, Harris Whalen, Smith Cemetery, or Veterans Memorial, I have yet to do it. But I will do it. Nobody else wants to do it, make sure that Tim gets that information. And Andy, you're gonna get copies of this too. So comments on the survey stuff? This is also about rubbing posts. Also, the implication is that maybe there's an Eagle Scout project waiting after you do the survey at each park location, waiting for another Eagle Scout to come along and say, what do you need? What is a project? What's a bite-sized project for the Penfield Trails Committee as a benefactor? And we will have an answer for them, even choices.
Is there gonna be maps attached
What's that?
to these? Are we gonna attach maps to
You
these?
can
I've
if
seen
you
that
want.
you drew a map.
I drew the movement, schematic movement of one end of the trail to the other, and where the items that I'm talking about are actually located in proportion. But yes, you could. Don't forget that this is in conjunction with our passport, Wegmans passport map, opportunities for people to visit these parks, find the rubbing post, and just get involved in trail awareness in Penfield. And that's in conjunction with, they can, after a certain amount of correct rubbings on the individual park maps, they can recover some merchandise at the Penfield Rec Hall. And that's been ongoing for about 7 or 8 years. So,
Are the surveys gonna be handed out?
what's that?
The surveys how are they gonna be handed out?
I'll make sure that you and Tim get copies.
Yeah.
Are you handing out just for the Trails Committee or for like the public? That's the question.
No, I'm handing it out for the Parks Department and the Rec Department and PTC members.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
It's an internal, no, it's nothing to do with the public,
Okay.
because this is just something to get our parks up to shape, and this has been a COVID year, things can slip behind. This just updates us on stuff to work on.
Okay.
including us and potential Eagle Scouts. And if Eagle Scouts come along and say, well, I need, you know, some 8-foot wooden T signs, I need 40 of them, and then we can then get our trail signage updated by using any of these creative thoughts. Boy Scouts, or the Eagle Scout bench project that's kind of disappeared to nowhere after COVID came along March 15th. You know, some kids were proposed and started to do these projects, and it just disappeared on us. So this is why I wanted to get the survey down, to have a bite-sized series of choices for Eagle Scout projects if it comes along again. Another reason to do the survey. All right, now for the open portion of our session, Mr. Ed Linskog has a Willow Pond project update for us.
I'm a resident of Legacy of Willow Pond, and I'll let my 3 neighbors introduce themselves. They're of the Willow Pond community. Would you please introduce yourselves?
I'm Phyllis Austin, and I've been on Carob Court for 42 years.
Karen and Ed Wright, and we live on Carob Court, and we really like to use the trail, but it's really unusable because it's too dangerous to walk on.
To give you a little history, this project started about 4 years ago when we started to update. We did a little cleaning, and then 2 years ago there was a sale, and the part of the land in question was not included in the sale. It still belongs to Mark IV. The legacies were all sold to Watermark communities. Watermark had an agreement with Mark IV to maintain the trails. So back in December, a crew came in from Watermark's associate to do some trail maintenance, and they dug out the old trails and started to install new ones. And then we ran into COVID, and we ran into a mess in the winter and whatever else happened, and the project stalled. And right now the project is in limbo, fighting between the 2 entities that are supposed to be involved in it. We did have meetings with the town. We met with the town engineer and the supervisor, and I've made phone calls. I've been on cable, on planning, or on town board nights and talked. And emails went to Jim Costello, and nothing's happened. So us and the neighbors here are looking for the town to support our getting the project finished. The goal for this piece of property is to eventually turn it over to the town for maintenance by the Parks Department. But it's got to be brought up to standards, and that's where the rub is now, how much money to put into it and what needs to be done.
Well, what they did was just bring in bulldozers and scrape everything off.
Yeah, they made a mess out of it.
And they made a mess, and then they brought in rock instead of small gravel and spread that around. And you can't even walk on it because you twist your ankle. It's terrible. And then when we have the rainy season, there are 9 areas there that fill up with water. And right across from my house, I can see it. And in the spring, there are ducks there on the pond. And I've been there 42 years, and it seems to me I've been fighting Mark IV for 42 years.
So we're happy to have the town take it over if we can get it up to standards.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, there was some vandalism on one of the benches. The benches were donated by a local church to beautify the property, and some of them have been designated to former residents from the legacy there. Mm-hmm. I believe the town, I know the town was involved. I don't know who went over and repainted the bench, but somebody from highway or somebody like
It was
that.
probably another department than ours.
Yeah, I know Tony got involved, and the sheriff was involved. And an investigation was launched as to who was doing the vandalism. I'll volunteer to talk to our trail liaison, which is Linda Cole, and I can see if I can get her involved, a little bit more involved with the committee too.
Is that it?
And any suggestions from the committee as to how we can resolve this problem?
As I say, I've been fighting Mark IV, and if they are in charge of it again, I have no idea what's going to happen or when. And they're just impossible people.
Is there an actual contract between
There's things in writing, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also an easement in place that allows the public to use the property,
Yeah,
and that's been recorded. So we're not doing anything illegal, but we need to get the situation fixed, because it's currently on private property.
well, Watermark came in and put up a sign, and no walking permitted or something like that, you know, and took down the old sign that they had there. And so I was talking to Jim Costello, and I said, well, we got a new sign here. And I said, we're not allowed to walk on the trail. And he said, of course you are, it's right in the deed. I said, I know it is. And he said, what do they do with the no dumping sign? I said, I have no idea. He said, you mean we can go over and dump there now?
Jeez.
You have no idea what we've gone through with Mark IV. It's a long tail.
Has anybody else got anything for our open discussion?
Nels, do you have the name of the scout that's gonna be doing the Carpenter bee boxes?
Carolyn Blair. Caroline Blair. I will email you her information. I'll CC it to you.
Yes, please do.
There was recently an easement granted on the Penfield Wesleyan Church property for a new trail on that to connect the subdivisions to the north to Roth's Park. So the Trails Committee could be involved there and blaze a new trail through there. It doesn't have to be anything elaborate.
Is that that octagon building?
Yes, you know, the parcel was split into two properties, and when it was done, the town requested an easement, and that was granted to them. So that's in place. But right now, they're going through, the people are walking through the middle of the property, so they need to be on the easement parcel.
It needs to be marked essentially.
That's right, it should be marked too, that's correct.
I have a project for scouts. Am I interrupting?
No, it's open discussion. Jenny, what's up?
Well, in the back of the Baptist churchyard, there's a huge area all fenced in with water. And last spring, this scout, you know, a 17-year-old working on his Eagle Scout program, told me he would love to have a garden in half of that area, which is a good-sized area. And I thought, it was an Eagle Scout program. He was going to raise all these vegetables, and he was going to give them to one of the people who need, vegetables, like up here on Baird Road. But what has happened, he lived too far away, he didn't have enough adult support, and the place is a big mess. I think he was successful with some tomato plants, but it is awful. I helped pull weeds out of there last spring to help this get going. But I frankly, I would die of a heart attack if I tried to pull up all those weeds that are in there now. But the space it's good. How big is it? You've seen it.
It's probably,
It's a good sized space.
maybe 40 by 80 or something in feet. It's a pretty good sized space.
If you know scouts, that want to clean up that mess. I mean, there's tires in there, there's plastic in there, and there's leftover vegetables, and I've been calling his scout leader, I've been calling Jake, but poor Jake, he lives kind of a long way away, and he, as I said, he has not had enough adult support. And so the thing has gotten away from him. But this is a wonderful place for people to have some sort of a project, a scout project, and I just hate to think that the church is going to get upset with us and they're going to tear the fence down and the whole thing is going to go away. And so I'm looking everywhere trying to get some help with this project.
For the minutes, what is the exact location of this area?
You know, my ears,
For Eleanor's minutes, what is the exact
It's
location?
on the east side of the,
Penfield Road,
it's on the, that's on the north side of Penfield Road. On the east side of the Baptist Church parking lot,
Oh,
right adjacent to the parking lot.
right, but there's lots of parking in there, there's a big parking
there's
lot.
actually a town park in there.
No, it's not, yes, I
Really?
guess that's, it connects to the town park, that's correct.
And the schoolyard backs up to it, I mean,
Right.
the whole school on Baird Road.
It's
the
behind
parking comes
the
way-
Baptist church parking lot.
Yes, yes, and if there's anything anybody can do to help, it's been driving me nuts.
I'll
I've
take a
been
look
trying
at
to-
it, Jenny, so I
What?
can formulate it. I'll take a look at it and formulate it as a
Okay.
bite-sized scout project.
Okay,
It's on the east side, it's not on the back side, Nels, on the east side of that parking lot.
Yeah, but there's a walking trail that's also part of that.
Along,
Park.
along the north side of that, there's a walking trail,
Yes.
that's correct.
it's easy to get to.
I'll take a look at it, add it to our possible scout list, write it up in terms of what needs to be
I
done.
mean, there's some scout groups, I think, that live closer. I think that one of the big problems with with Jake was that he was too far away, and he didn't have enough support.
Right now, it's inactive, we'll try and activate it, or at least describe it.
There is a scout troop at the Baptist church.
Exactly, they park right next to
Right
this
there.
parking lot.
Now,
Baptist
now,
church
so
sponsors the scout troop,
Yep,
so
I
they should be
am so-
contacted.
I am so interested
that would
in
be
this.
worth it.
I will meet them and show them and tell them about it anytime. You can just give them my phone number and tell them to call me.
All right, so we have the closest possibility for communication is there is a scout troop that meets at the Baptist church.
If a Boy Scout had lots of help, he could build a
Right,
wonderful
right.
garden in there and raise all kinds of vegetables all summer and give them either to his mother or, but to the food shelf.
Yeah,
It's a
there
wonderful
was
scout
a group
project.
at the church that used to plant the garden there,
Mhm.
but I don't know if they're still doing
It's
that or
nice, it's well fenced, it's got water, running water to it, it's a nice place. Could be.
All right, let's try and put that together, short circuit the communication, so make them aware of it. Okay, anybody else for the October meeting? Going once, going twice, going 3 times, our hike is 10 o'clock. Bottom of Empire Boulevard by McGregor's Lucian Warren Park parking lot, look for the hike signs. And I'll get there at 9:30 and have them out. If you can help me, Denny,
It depends how the shot goes.
all right.
If I can
Now,
help.
Eileen will be there. I
All right,
cannot be
fine,
hike
great,
there.
great. I was looking for help on this. So, for Penfield TV, Nels Carmen, our Penfield Trails Committee, our October meeting with our Parks Director and our Recreation Director attending, thank you very much.